Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, media personnel, staff of the Electoral Commission of Zambia, and indeed all ladies and gentlemen and all those that are following us through different media platforms. On behalf of the Commission, I wish to welcome you all to this briefing of the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Ladies and gentlemen, you are all aware that the fourth and final phase of the voter registration exercise, which commenced on 9th November 2020, will be concluded today, 12th December 2020. The purpose of this briefing is to update you on the way forward with regards to voter registration exercise, which the Commission has undertaken in the past 1 month. Allow me to speak to some statistics. In the last update, the Commission announced a total number of 4,321,319 that had been captured during phase 1, 2, and 3 of the exercise. The Commission is yet to consolidate the figures for phase 4 of the exercise, which commenced on Thursday, 3rd December 2020, and ends today, 12th December 2020. In this regard, the cumulative number of registered voters will be announced on Tuesday, 15th December 2020, to allow for consolidation of data from the various registration centers across the country. Allow me to also mention that this has been the practice even for the other phases. It's just that those were running, and we will always announce after 2 days when we consolidate the data. And it's not different this time around. So as you're fully aware, registration is already underway as we know that the phase closed before we update you with the numbers, lest we mislead the nation. Allow me, however, to mention that the Commission is highly encouraged by the numbers captured in phase 4. So far, I think we are at a very good place as a Commission, and we are really encouraged by the numbers that have been captured in the 4th phase. Let me also thank the many stakeholders that have helped in pushing for this, political parties being one of them, civil society organizations, and indeed the citizens for mobilizing themselves and turning up in masses to register. It's extremely encouraging from the Commission's perspective. Allow me also, as I'm on the topic of statistics, to talk to something that keeps coming up. This is with regard to disaggregated data. We did speak to this in our previous briefings, but I will again highlight this issue. The Commissioner takes note of the calls for disaggregated data for registered voters per province. However, as earlier communicated, this data will only be made available at the end of the registration exercise. The current registration allows for a voter to register from anywhere and to vote from the preferred polling station. This is important to note. Therefore, the disaggregated data will only be available after the consolidation and cleanup of the register. That is when we will know exactly where one is registered to vote. And this is very, very important. Colleagues in the media, please help disseminate this information. It's not that the Commission just wants to withhold this data. We don't want to mislead the nation. If for now I say Lusaka, for example, has 1 million registered voters, and after we do the consolidation and cleanup, that million dwindles to 500. What is the perception that is going to come to the Commission? The fact is that one can register from any point to vote from their preferred polling station. So the data that you have and that people are circulating, that this area has so many registered votes, in fact, it's inaccurate. That accuracy will only be attained once data consolidation is done and cleanup. That's when we'll know who's voting from which particular area and which point. Allow me to get to the point of voter registration extension. The Commission has taken into consideration the calls for an extension for voter registration exercise by some stakeholders, and indeed the general public, The Commission had earlier indicated that it would review the voter registration exercise at the end, which would inform its next steps. In this view, the Commission has decided to extend the voter registration exercise. Please take me correctly on this point. The period of extension will be announced on Tuesday, 5th December 2020. The voter registration exercise will resume on Wednesday, 16th December 2020. This is to allow for a comprehensive review of the statistics as well as logistical arrangements. The exercise is coming to an end today, so we'll need to look at the numbers, total numbers that have been captured, and also be able to look at what other logistical arrangements we need to put in place, including a fresh deployment schedule, as the current deployment schedule was only for the 4 phases that were put in place. Again, most importantly, is that you may also be aware that our registration officers have worked continuously for the last 1 month with no break. The 3 days will also allow them to rest and recharge in readiness to resume the voter registration exercise, as I've indicated, on Wednesday, 16th December 2020, at which point we'll also announce the length of the extension. I hope that is clear. Allow me also to talk to issues that are coming up with regards to voter registration malpractices. And this is something we did speak to earlier in our earlier briefings. The requirements for one to register as a voter are that one must be a Zambian citizen aged 18 years and above and in possession of a green national registration card. The Commission, therefore, would categorically state that it is illegal for anybody or anyone to register as a voter if they do not meet these requirements. Any person who does not meet these requirements and attempts to register as a voter commits an offense which is liable to prosecution. And therefore, everybody that is being registered under the Commission is following the set guidelines as per the Constitution. Allow me also to give you a brief on the ongoing voter registration for persons in lawful custody. Voter registration for persons in lawful custody, which commenced on Wednesday, 9th December 2020, will be concluding today, Saturday, 12th December 2020. The Commission has also been encouraged by the response from the persons in lawful custody to register as voters. The number of registered persons will also be announced on Tuesday, because this exercise is still underway. In concluding, the Commission wishes to extend its appreciation to all citizens who have turned up in large numbers to register as voters at the registration centers across the country. We are really grateful for the support from all the stakeholders and indeed the enthusiasm and patriotism demonstrated by the public, and we do not take that for granted. The Commission shall ensure that all eligible citizens who present themselves to register as voters are captured and no one is left behind as the exercise comes to a final conclusion. I thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much, CEO, for that brief. This is now a time for questions and answers, or if you need any clarifications, the CEO will be here to respond to those. And I just want to remind everyone that we have an attendance register. Kindly ensure that you put down your names so that we know and you have your contacts for the next time. So as you ask your questions, please give us your name and the organization that you are coming from. I'll take 3 at a go.
Yeah. Please ask your questions. I have to run immediately after this for another engagement, so I might not have the opportunity for the one-on-one interviews. Apologies for that. So please ask and exhaust your questions.
I'll start from here.
Good morning. I'm Jimmy Kanasha from CBC Television. My question is, have you gotten any updates concerning the incidents in Western Province, particularly Mongo, where the registration center is closed for almost a week? Has any update come to you, and what's the information on the ground? Okay.
My name is Sharon Kalisa. I wanted to find out if you're considering extending the prison court because you only allocated 3 days, which is coming to a close today. And you're also considering an extension for that. Another one? Any other questions? Okay, please.
My name is Margaret. Regarding the registration of voters for those people in North Custody, we take note that those people don't have their NRC, and there are some concerned citizens that are saying they didn't go and get their NRC elsewhere, and someone is intimating that the Department of National Registration is actually giving those people NRC to give them the voter registration cards, the Western Custody. It means that those people have full NRCs as of now. And the commission taking note of that, and what is it doing that is that
Thank you very much. I'll allow the CEO to respond.
The incident in Western Province, we did get in touch. This is with reference to the Civic Center, which was closed. We were informed that there was a case of COVID. However, the center was moved to a nearest point, which was about 300 meters from where it was. And this center was operational, and currently, as we speak, is operational. Considering prison voting, the prison population is rather fixed in as much as it is fluid. We do know the estimates. We were anticipating to register about 16,000 voters from those in lawful custody, and this is something we had announced in our last briefing. So we will look at the numbers after we conclude and whether there is need for us to be able to extend. In the same vein, with regards to prisons voting, in reference to NRC issuance, we did announce that we will be doing the exercise simultaneously, where when, as a commission, we go in to register persons in lawful custody, the Department of National Registration Citizenship will also be there to issue NRCs to those that did not have NRCs. But also a census was done to determine who didn't have and who did. There were some that did and were requested that they request their relatives to bring those IDs to them. And those that didn't have, Department of NRCs did do the necessary screening to issue them with NRCs. And of course, like any other process, if one lost, they are able to indicate that I've lost my ID, and following the due process of the law and screening, they are issued with an NRC. So I cannot give further information with regards to any other details of NRCs, as that is not the mandate of the Commission. Mine ends at basically the process where we did collaborate with the department and the process therein. So prisons voting extension will only be considered on Tuesday when we announce the period of the extension that has been awarded to the general public.
I can see another hand there.
I would like to find out, I do understand the exercise is called mobile registration, meaning it's not static, but there are incidences that are causing inconveniences in a place where, you know, there's a voter registration center here, and tomorrow you go there, the center is not there. I can give an example of what is happening in Kanigalila. I just did a survey, and I noticed that about 3 centers have been closed, forcing people to only go to one place which is there, which is very much logistic. So I would like to find out, how are you categorizing the moving of the centers from where they are or the closing? Are you waiting until people are done before you can close? Then the other question is, if there is an extension, and then you happen to manage to register at the 9 million, are you going to stop at exactly 9 million, or if there will be more, you need to do more? I want to understand. Will you end at 9 million, or you can go about that? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll take another two. Please bear in mind that unlike the way we have always done our press briefings, once the main briefing is done, the CEO will be available to answer some questions for exclusive stories. Today he's busy, so please make sure that you ask your questions now, if there are any. And yes, please.
I'm Cinderella David. Considering that you have okayed an extension, don't you concur with me that it would be prudent for the ECZ to simultaneously open all the 9,000 polling stations so that then you will be effective and the distances that people complain about will be needed in the back?
Okay, please, you can ask your question.
Just a follow-up on his question. It's concerning on the consideration to extend which you've announced. And obviously we know what the law provides according to the Act Section 7 of the Electoral Procedure, number 35/2016, which provides for the continuous registration. So is it that you're going to continue registering, because there have been some complaints saying that should be continuous as the law provides for? So the extension, is it going to continue as the law provides, or is it going to be limited?
Okay, I'll allow for responses now.
Okay. Thank you. Talking about the extension, firstly, continuous, I'll speak in context of the extension, because this is a matter that is before the courts, constitutional courts, so I wouldn't want to be held in contempt speaking to this matter, but in relation to the extension that will be awarded for the period. So there will come a close. So the period that will be awarded to the public will be a fixed period, and that period will come to a close for the simple reason that you can't continue, because the voter registration exercise needs to be subjected to deduplication, cleanup, certification for use for nomination for the general elections come 2021. So it will come to a close. It will be for a specific time period. Opening all polling stations, it's not possible, and you will note once we give out the statistics on Tuesday that actually most polling stations have actually been mopped out. So the deployment will be looking at high areas where we can be able to redeploy to be able to mop up. So the extension is basically meant for mopping up whoever will not have been captured in this phase, and we ask the citizens to take full advantage of this window that will be opened up to them in terms of the period that will be announced on Tuesday, and ensure that they have themselves registered. Significant number of registered of eligible voters have actually been captured, and we'll speak to this on Tuesday. What will determine the extension? We'll have a number. Like I said, we're going to review the statistics that we're going to have, which we'll be able to showcase, and also look at other processes that need to happen. One of the key challenges that we have is that we've been looking at electoral processes in isolation, and this we keep emphasizing, and it's very, very important, colleagues in the media as well as the general public, you understand that registration alone is not enough. When you're talking about the credible electoral processes, everything that needs to be put in place also needs to happen. After this registration exercise, there's an equally critical and very, very important process, which is the deduplication cleanup process leading up to the certification of the register. As it stands, it's possible for us to have multiple registration. It's possible to have a number of incomplete registration in terms of data. There could be some that were captured as male when in fact they're female. There's a verification process that has to follow through. And if that is not done properly, you undermine the credibility of the register and indeed of the electoral process. Because one can contest the register, which was the case we had in 2016. And as the Commission, we want to ensure that we have a register that is robust and credible as we get to 2021. We want to be able to stand confidently and be able to conduct credible elections in a free and transparent manner. And this needs to ensure that all processes in the electoral cycle are given the much needed attention as they deserve. You cannot open up voter registration in perpetuity. It's not possible. You need to take into account other considerations as well. And it's important that those are done effectively and efficiently. So this is where we'll be getting to. So when we do announce on Tuesday, the time period will be limited. We will announce the period, and that period will be taking into account the processes that need to follow. Especially now that we have a constitutionally enshrined date of 12th August, we have to make sure that everything is done within that time period. I think I've answered all. So the deployment schedule will follow the pattern. So we had the deployment schedule at the beginning of the exercise. And that deployment schedule did indicate that you're going to be moving from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3, right up to the end phase. And particular centers will be operational to cater for a particular catchment area. So the idea is to ensure that each catchment area is serviced during every deployment schedule. And those are some of the parameters that will also be considered in the extension period. So the citizens need to look out for that, which will be the centers that will be open during the extension, just as they've been doing during this exercise.
I think I could see that we didn't have any questions unless we have some burning questions we would like to close. Is there any? I can see that there. You have a question?
Maybe I can just ask.
Okay.
My name is Terry from Community. So you're saying they're doing everything to see to it that you provide fair elections for 2021. 2020 has been very difficult with stakeholders moving back and forth. I remember it actually caused for a reaction in the case of Yali. Just yesterday we saw the European petition in the Commission. How has this affected the work of the Commission, especially that it's coming at a critical time when you're trying to put everything in place to see that you provide, I just say, fair and fair elections?
I think that's the only question I got on the floor. Is there any other? No. Oh, there. Okay.
I came in a little late, but I just want to get clarification for registration for prisoners. There's a way going around what would happen if somebody is a prisoner and he registers in the correctional facility. And it happens that before the election is out of the facility. Where does he watch?
Any other?
These are the last questions, and I can see no hands.
It's a weekend,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, free and fair elections, and yet we have a lot of stakeholders that are querying the Commission on a number of issues. This is expected and it's healthy. It keeps us in check as a Commission in terms of what we are doing, but it also allows us to take and consider the views of the different stakeholders. And that's how it should be. You cannot expect that it will be smooth sailing. You will have stakeholders that will raise concerns, and our job is to ensure that we communicate to those stakeholders effectively and tell them that what we are doing is in the best interest of the nation and indeed theirs. The Commission has, especially this year, but throughout its operations, been doing aggressive reviews on a number of processes. Every decision that is taken by the Commission is well informed by a number of occurrences, particularly past elections. And it's important that we learn from that. 2016 is such one milestone. There were quite a number of issues that were brought forward by stakeholders, including the current registration of voters. And what is being implemented is actually what stakeholders were calling for, despite some of them actually U-turning now. But what is being implemented is now what was being called for and questioned. That even led the commission being being considered in terms of the register before the Constitutional Court, challenging the credibility of the register. So we are basically trying to bring credibility to the electoral process, as it were, and in this case, the register. And we would ensure that we do that. We understand the contestability moving forward into 2021. There are a number of political parties that are vying. The citizens also, when you look at information, there's a lot of information now that is circulating. And we need to ensure that when we come to vote in 2021, the Commission is not the subject for discussion. The Commission is not the subject for a petition. That the Commission would have done everything possible to ensure that it creates a fair playing ground, and whatever it is that might arise will arise not because the Commission didn't do its job. And this is what exactly we are doing, and I hope that our stakeholders will be able to support the work of the Commission. And I can assure the citizens that everything that is being done now is in the interest of the nation. The current register that we have captured so far, I can confidently say we are at a happy place, and building up with the extension, it is one that is robust and one that we've not been able to attain in Zambia for a very long time. For the first time, we have a robust register that has almost all eligible citizens to be able to vote, and we hope that this will translate in a high voter turnout come 2021. And this has been done in a relatively short period of time to capture the current numbers that we'll be giving out on Tuesday, as compared to the years and years that we had to compile the current register that is running. So there is a lot of work that has gone in, and there's more yet to be done. And of course, the Commission is not saying that everything is smooth sailing. We are looking at those weaknesses and those challenges that we faced and working on improving those. And we welcome stakeholder views, and everybody that has concerns can please bring them forward. Those that want to engage can come forward, and we'll be able to engage and give our position and also consider their position as we move forward. Stakeholder engagement is extremely important, and we value that as a Commission, and we hope that all the stakeholders will be able to help us deliver credible, free and fair elections come 2021. Out of prison, will one be able to vote, and how do they do that? Yes, they will be able to vote. We did announce that during this registration exercise, registration will be done for those that are being registered, will be registered under existing polling districts where the facility is located. So they will be able to vote from that polling district where the facility is located. So when one is discharged, they'll still enjoy that right for them to exercise and be able to vote.
Thank you very much. I think we have now come to the end of the briefing. We would like to thank you, colleagues, for coming, even on a Saturday. We do appreciate. Thank you so much.